Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the Gardener. Today's gonna be a little bit of a different type of video. The first and hopefully last of its kind. Um Today I want to talk about Gojo. I want to talk about one of my favorite characters in fiction, one of my favorite characters of all time, and my favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen. Maybe second to you, devil. You tell you that to go. Wait, I was like, well, Gojo's up there. And there's gonna be spoilers. I'm gonna talk all over the place. But I wanted to take a moment to appreciate Gojo, man. I want to take a moment to appreciate Satoru freaking Gojo, the GOAT, the great one, the strongest. Because I don't really believe he lost that title. Even though he thinks he does. Because he doesn't believe in fairness, right? He doesn't believe that one has to be fair and have a fair fight in order for it to be considered a win. He thinks as long as you kill the opponent, you win. It doesn't matter. That's Gojo's mentality. So he has no excuses. He doesn't complain. He just accepts that he lost, and that's it. Which is beautiful within itself. There's a few questions about why he can't or CT or whatever, but I think it's because Sukuna cut through reality itself, including soul, everything. So I think you can't repair that because the soul has been cut in half. So I think he's probably dead. And I know there's some theories that he might come back as a Lotus or whatever, but I don't really see him coming back. I'm not gonna lie. Gege hates his ass. Like, there's no way he's been trying to get rid of him this whole time. I think he put him in a box for 3 years to try to figure out how to kill him, and he found a way. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't really matter if it's satisfactory or not. That's satisfactory. It's something that essentially had to happen, even though I prefer the draw. And I said, I made a video of why I think him living is not a problem. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I like the chapter. I gotta say, I really like the chapter of reading it. When I saw the spoilers, I didn't like the idea and how it was explained. But when I read the chapter, it was kind of emotional. And I know we don't get time to mourn because Gege hates Gojo, so as soon as he packed him up, he was like, finally, I can move on with this damn story. I spent 13 fucking chapters on this damn fight. And I know the attack was like off-screened, but if you see the slash, it like cut through like buildings behind. It changed the weather to snow because he literally destroyed reality with that cut. It's definitely Sukuna's strongest ever attack because he unlocked something different because of Maharaga. I know Gojo thinks that he might not have won even without the 10 shadows, but I think Sukuna saying that it was almost impossible for him to do what he did, even while knowing what Maharaga did. And I think that's why he was in the shadows, and even when he came out, I think he was trying to figure out how to make his curse technique do that. And I think after that purple, I think that's when he figured it out. You know what I mean? And I think he waited for that. I think once he survived that purple, he was like, okay, I don't think he has enough juice in him to take this. You know what I'm saying? Or to see it coming. And I think that's when he hit him. Because the same way that when Maho hit Gojo, Gojo didn't even react because there was no cut. It was just reality cut itself. Now, Gojo did heal that arm. So why can't he heal the body? Right? Is it just because it's completely severed, so there's nothing for it to RCT form? I don't really get it. Because they can RCT limbs, but maybe like a whole body is too much. It's a question for a different video. But yeah, so I think that's basically what happened. So maybe this whole thing can't be true if that's the case, because Maharaga, like, Gojo grew his arm back. It did take him some time, but that's because his curse energy output was low. But he was supposed to be back because of the black flashes, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, so I think, Sukuna cutting him with that super duper overpowered ability, I think credit has to go to Maharaga because he said he needed that blueprint because he didn't have a blueprint. He didn't know what to do, like how to touch Gojo. And I think by Gojo saying Sukuna didn't go all out, I think is that Sukuna couldn't go all out, right? Because there's no, like, he survived the Malevolent Shrine, right? He has no Malevolent Shrine left. He has no technique that can bypass infinity, and he admitted, because that's what he needed. That's what he needed Maharaga to be the conduit, to teach him the way, right? And for him to then process and try to figure out what application he must use in order to do it. Because when Maharaga could punch and touch Gojo, that's something Sukuna can't do because Mahoraga changed the property of the curse itself in order to bypass infinity. But Sukuna can't do that. It doesn't suit him, right? It's not something he's capable of doing with his curse technique. And so when once Mahoraga cut him from afar, and if you look at the cut when he cuts the arm, you see that the building behind is also slashed. I think even the sky, the air, molecules, everything is sliced with that cut. You know what I mean? And that cut is like perfect. There's no roughness because it just cut through reality. And then obviously reality comes back together. But Gojo can't, apparently. So, I think Gojo did fantastic. I think he did better than he's given himself credit for. I think Sukuna realized that Gojo's also doing better than he thought anybody could. He had him nervous. And I think having the 10 shadows definitely helped him a lot. And him not being able to go all out was for several reasons. One, it's a waste of curse energy trying to attack the infinite, the limitless. And B, he has to fight other people straight after, so he can't show all these cards. So, he all out fight with Gojo is kind of impossible, unless you can bypass infinity. If you can't bypass infinity, then there's no all out fight because half your kit doesn't work. So I think that's where it's kind of like it's up to interpretation. I think that's why I think Sukuna almost kind of contradicts Gojo. And he even says, "You did well, Gojo, Satoru Gojo. I will never forget you. Like I will remember you for as long as I live." Like he's, and he even when Kashima pulls up, he's like, "Listen, I'm in a good mood because Gojo put him in a good mood for that fight, for giving him such a fight." He's like, "Don't disappoint me. Don't make this fight trash because I just came from one of the greatest battles in history." You know what I'm saying? So I think as well, it kind of showcases another thing. If Gojo could learn from this fight, I think Gojo will be able to make his Infinity Purple and all his abilities way, way stronger. I think over time he'd be able to figure out how to. I don't think he can instantly figure it out like Sukuna, but I think over time he'd be able to figure out how to maybe make purple eradicate from the inside out, like Sukuna does with his slashes. Because I think Sukuna's slashes at some point probably weren't throwable. I think he made it throwable, right? I think first he had to use his hands like a blade. But I think he eventually learned how to throw it. Excuse me, and now he learned how to fucking throw it through reality. So, but Gojo did well, man. Gojo did his thing. I don't think the Gojo stocks are low. I think Gojo stocks are super high. I think if he was in full condition, he might have blocked it even, because we don't know how much weaker his reverse curve technique got, even though he got a boost with the flash, with the black flash, but that boost is relevant to where you are at. He wasn't at 100% when he got the boost, right? So he's not at 100%. You know what I mean? So let's say he was at 30-40%. When he got the boost, he went up to like 70-60%. So it's not like he went up to 120%. So the boost is less than what it would have been if he was a full in the zone Gojo. So that's what I think. I think I'm proud of Gojo. You know what I'm saying? He tried his best. And I think he surpassed every limitless user. But I think him being born in an era where he was the strongest, with no question, is ultimately what allowed Sukuna to be able to defeat him. Because I think if this Gojo was thrown into the Heian era, I think so many other fighters there would probably find ways or have methods to try to bypass Limitless that I think he would have been able to defeat Sukuna. I think him against Heian era Sukuna is a great battle, but I don't think Sukuna figures out Gojo's powers on time. I think the clashes go a bit different against Heian era, because I don't think he tried to focus on Maharaga as much, and I think he'll win more the main clashes. But I still think he'd lose one. And I think he'd still lose inside the domain, because I think Gojo hand to hand is just far superior, because he's a modern sorcerer, so he knows everything everybody knows. Sukuna knows a lot of things, and he probably had so much time to think about his curse technique, curse energy, and all of that, and learn also by looking through Yuji, Megumi, all of these kids' eyes, and trying to find cracks in Gojo, that I think he had the intel advantage by quite a margin. Gojo came in blind with no plan and just fought because his teammates are fucking useless and gave him no information. And that's what it is. Anyways, I think he died an honorable death. I think he put in work. I think Kashimo is gonna damage Sukuna further, and I think perhaps the students will follow up and try to finish Sukuna. I think Sukuna, if he's going to be finished off, it's going to be Kashimo might actually he might kill Sukuna, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, because his abilities of a God Slayer, and he can use it once a day. I think this ability, it's kind of like, you know, if you look at Hunter x Hunter, right? And if you look at, is it Netero versus Miriam, and how Netero basically offed himself to destroy Miriam. Miriam came back to life and died anyway. I think Sukuna will probably lose here, but I think before dying he'll turn himself to a Cause Tool again, and then I think Kashimo's ability is going to mess himself up, and then Kenjaku come, put Sukuna back together, and Kashimo will die, or something of the sort. Or either that, or Sukuna is just gonna absolutely mollywop him. But I think, you know, those possibilities. But I'm excited for the next chapter. I'm happy with this chapter. Anyways, been your boy Supreme Uchiha the God. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.